apparently there are some old Routemaster buses running between Dartford and Gravesend today, so I'm on the train there to go for a ride on some of them. Dartford is the busiest station in Kent, has quite a weird station building, doesn't it? It's going to get even more passengers today as well, because there's no trains beyond this point. There are replacement buses, but we don't want one of them, we want a much older bus. I just popped into the shop first though before my travels, not to pick up a packet of crisps or a chocolate bar, but for a programme for the running day today. This will give me all the information I need, from timetables to maps. And in fact, outside of the shop here, I see my first bus, the 480, which will run express from Dartford to Gravesend. I think it will only stop at Bluewater along the way. Bus has pulled up, I've jumped on. Another bus has pulled up behind, a 452 to Longfield. I'm going to spend this journey to Gravesend looking through the booklet and I guess coming up with a plan for the day. So here's the map. So I could go to places like Swanley or Ainsford, New Ash Green, which is near Longfield. There's a bus out to Rochester, that would be nice to do, go back there again, but it's a very limited service, so I wouldn't have time to wander around the town, which is what I would want to do. Choices. And we're off on our journey, passing over the M25. The Dartford crossing is up that way somewhere. There it is, the Dartford crossing. Possibly my favourite bridge over the Thames, though Tower Bridge has some beating. And down there is the wide expanse of Bluewater shopping centre. This is as far east as London buses go south of the river, and in a very similar fashion, a couple of them, quite bumpy, run express from Dartford, like a 96. The only stop it makes along the way is at the Dartford Valley Hospital. It's really bumpy. Made it to Gravesend. It wasn't the same green bus we saw at the beginning. A red one pulled up instead. What a place to drop me off in Gravesend though, right by the Three Doors pub, which is the oldest public house in Gravesend, and the town pier, which is the world's oldest cast iron pier. And there's only one thing to do when in Gravesend, and that is get a shot of the Thames estuary, looking over towards Tilbury on that side with its historic dockyard, and back down towards the Thames towards Dartford, and just about see the crossing in the distance. Well, that boat's arrival was a surprise. It's really packed, so if they're all about to get off, I better get off the pier myself before they bombard me here on a pontoon. So out here on the Thames estuary, considering that this would have been a main route in towards the country from opposing forces, a lot of defence structures can still be seen along the banks of the river, including here. This is an old blockhouse which was built back in like 1539. It was during the reign of King Henry VIII. That's quite surprising that this is still here. You'd be more certain to come across World War II defence structures, not something that's quite a few hundred years old. There's another pier a little ways along, the Royal Terrace Pier, which is right next to some offices for the Port of London Authority. So I am going to spend a bit of time exploring around Gravesend because that's just what I do, but I've got a bit of a wait for another bus anyways because they're a bit infrequent. But I'm fairly certain I've come up with a plan which works, so this will be fun. I think this is the 4th time I've been to Gravesend now, and it's evened the playing field. I've come here twice at night time, twice now in the daytime. The first time was almost 6 years ago, and I caught the ferry over from Tilbury on the other side, which until quite recently it's ceased operations. They're no longer running, which is quite unfortunate. We all know that there's a distinct lack of crossings of the Thames in East London. Wait, we're not in London. east of the river. This was the most eastern point where you could cross the River Thames, so it's a shame that that's no longer running. I don't know if them services will be back at any point. The second time, it was just at the end of a random day when I was out travelling on the Medway Valley line and it was dark because it was the evening. And the last time would have been last year in December for another bus running day. That was the Ensign Bus Running Day, which is an annual event. I think much like this one. I think this operated last year too, though this year, unfortunately, I don't think it is operating. But to this day, I think that's my favourite bus running day which I've went out and done. It's based around Lakeside, which is very similar to Bluewater. It's a massive shopping centre that they've just built in a hole in the ground, presumably an old quarry, and built a whole bunch of convoluted roads to access it. There were buses which ran up to Upminster and Brentwood and Shenfield. One of them went to Tilbury on the other side of the Thames here, and another did the thing which I'd always wanted to do, and that was cross the Dartford crossing, and it came to Gravesend. That day though, I remember it was forecasted to actually be a really nice sunny day, and the fog and mist just never lifted from that morning. It stuck around throughout the entire day, so it was very grey and very cold. It was -1 all day, so it was absolutely freezing here by the Thames estuary on both sides of it. And it's just occurred to me that all 4 times I've been to Gravesend has been during the period from October to December, so actually it's always been cold when I've come to Gravesend. It's another cold day today. I should come here in the summer at some point. There goes the ship. Wonder if it's maybe running out towards Southend. It's definitely come from London, I believe. The bus back from Gravesend took the Dartford Tunnel because the crossing is one way. There are tunnels for when you're going to the north side of the Thames. But by that point it was dark, and actually it was quite creepy going down country roads in the middle of fields with no streetlights on a really old Routemaster bus, which was lit up quite nicely. It kind of felt like it was the beginning of a horror film in a way, like if the bus broke down and we were stranded in the middle of nowhere, or we were on some sort of ghost bus. It was a very cool experience. I very much enjoyed it. Beside the Thames here you have a fort. It's another defence structure. That's quite a tall hill. Shall I run up it? This will be a workout after sitting on buses all day. Oh, there we go. It's actually a little bit slippery. And there's an old cannon that's still here. An absolutely fantastic view here of the Thames estuary that this gun is pointing towards. You see London Gateway in the horizon over there. That's the site of the old Tilbury power station. You could tell because that's where the pylons end. And then you also have Tilbury Fort over on that side as well, another defence structure. It's actually quite a few if you head up on the north side towards Stamford La Hope. I'm looping around Gravesend by passing through the town centre and by this magnificent clock tower here. I'll pop in a photo of when I've seen it lit up at night before. Wow, what on earth happened here? This whole building has just crumbled away. This building here definitely has stories attached to it too. Heading down the pedestrianised Gravesend High Street. I think I'm going to take this appropriately named path back towards the bus stop. Passing through a churchyard here, quite a fine church, isn't it? Where it's said that Princess Pocahontas is buried. And there's a statue of her here too. You know I love my walks. Well, here at Gravesend there's a long distance one which starts here, the Wheeled Way. I've heard of this one before. It runs down to the sea at Eastbourne. So I've made it back to the bus stop. It's actually the same bus stop I waited at for the ghost bus back to Upminster. I thought I'd just come up by the river instead. That was quite a mammoth journey to Upminster. I've got another one ahead of me now. The plan is to head down towards Longfield. I think the bus will then do a loop down to Mepham and New Ash Green, and then it will go back towards Bluewater. And from Bluewater, I'm thinking of catching a bus down to Swanley and then catching another one back to Bluewater afterwards. There's a great little souvenir for the day as well, by the way. Cost £5. There's good information in here. It helps fund these days out. That's a good photo of a Routemaster bus outside the Elscourt Exhibition Centre. It's a real shame that building no longer exists. Never really got to see it properly. Well, that's not my bus over there. I'd much rather wait here by the river than down at the bus stop. It will pull up, there's other people waiting anyway, so I won't miss it. My bus has arrived, 4:90 to Longfield. Made it to Longfield, and my 490 becomes a 489A to Mepham. Made it to Mepham. I started a walk here once to Rochester, but you wouldn't really know of it because I packaged a video around an abandoned aircraft battery that I came across. I think that's the least viewed video on the channel, so I'll leave a link to it in the description below. I remember quoting in that video, I might not come back to Mepham again. Well, here we are. Made it back to Longfield, and then we headed out to New Ash Green as part of the 489 route now. This is a new area for me, so was Longfield before today, and we got one last stretch back to Longfield now before we do the route to Bluewater. Made it to Bluewater Shopping Centre. On our runs down to New Ash Green, Longfield and Mepham, we somehow picked up about 20 minutes worth of delays, which is quite surprising because we were quite speedy throughout. We stopped for photo breaks, but they were included in the timetable, so I've missed the last bus to Swanley now, so that's off the table. What I thought about doing instead is catching the bus down to Ainsford Station, but that actually starts up at Dartford, and by the time I got there I would miss that one too. So I didn't really know what to do, but then I discovered a bus which is not actually on this map. There's a Tours bus, there's no route number, to Upnor Castle, which is on the banks of the River Medway, I think, which is near Rochester. I don't think we'll see it necessarily. We won't have long there, but there is one which I can catch, so I think I'll do that. Oh, never mind. Seems the 477 to Swanley is just as late as us. I kind of don't want to get it now. I want to get this Upnor Castle one. Well, that's very frustrating. The last tour to Upnor Castle only took 6 people, probably because it's tucked away at the back of the booklet and not shown on the map, so no one really knows about it. So they've just decided, nah, we're not going to bother with the last one, which means I could have caught that Swanley bus after I thought I had missed it, and now I'm kind of stranded in Bluewater. What I was going to do once I made it back here was catch this 725, because it's going to go to Bromley South back in London. But I got a little bit worried because it said that one of the buses is not showing, but you're not telling me what duty number this one is falling under. Apparently it's still running, I have asked, but that's quite a while to wait, the 520. There's also a 750 to Croydon, which is just not shown on the timetable at all, so I have no idea if that even exists. The only thing I could really do now is catch one of the buses to Bexleyheath, which is in London, and either just go home after that, or I can catch it back to Bluewater and then still get that Bromley bus. But that one should be here by now, and it's not. I did just notice that there's the shortest route ever to exist, just between Bluewater and the nearby place of Bean. But even that would be a little bit of a wait, I guess. Half an hour or so. Very disappointing that you didn't stick to the timetable and run the last service out to Upnor Castle, because you just couldn't be bothered, I guess. There's no Bexleyheath bus showing up either, so I guess I'll hang around and see if the Bean one comes. I've always been interested by that place anyways, so I'll just hang out here and have some lunch by the not so blue water. That was the bus from Bexley, not to Bexley. That one still hasn't showed, I don't think. I think I just missed the bus to Bean, by the way. I saw it departing, and the reason why I didn't try to get on it was because it didn't show on the blind that it was a 4:50 to Bean. It was a 4:90 to Bluewater, so I thought it was a journey that was just ending. You can't plan days like this. I mean, I couldn't even really, because I just got this morning, which has all the timetables and maps inside. But even if you have the timetable, chances of them sticking to it is almost impossible. So any plan you do make with a timetable has a very high likelihood that it will just fall apart. So what do I do now? I wait again for the Bromley bus? If I just got on that Swanley one, it would have been fine. Right, well, as soon as I did that piece to camera at Bluewater, a bus to Bexleyheath showed up, the one which I was expecting about 50 minutes earlier. It was still going to head back to Bluewater too, but there's no point me doing that and then waiting for the Bromley bus, which actually left about 5 minutes ago, if it was on time and not 45 minutes late as well. So I caught it, and I'm just going to call it a day here. Despite everything though, I still had a really enjoyable day. It's just quite nice really to just relax on a bus for quite some time on the little routes around Longfield. I actually almost fell asleep. I was quite comfortable. The thing I most remember about Bexleyheath is that its station is a million miles away, so I'm going to do what I do best and go for a walk.